What's up guys, how you doing? Welcome to another video. So today I'm going to share with you 7 reasons, that's right, 7 reasons why I think the DJI Osmo Action is better than the GoPro Hero 8. That's right, contrary to popular opinion, I prefer the Osmo Action to the GoPro Hero 8. Generally speaking, people who've tested and reviewed these tend to fall towards the Hero 8, but I think they are missing 7 really key points that for me mean I would buy the DJI Osmo Action ahead of the GoPro Hero 8. Today we're going to talk through those 7 things. It's going to be a great video. If you guys are looking forward to this one, do me a favour, take that 1 second, go hit the like button on the video. It helps my channel out loads, it helps my video to be more successful. That's why I ask you to do on each and every video, and I really appreciate it. For all of you guys watching this who haven't subscribed, please do think about it. It takes you 1 second, go hit that subscribe button. Loads of other videos coming on my channel, so make sure you go hit it if you haven't already. So look, no messing around, let's get into this. What are my 7 reasons why I think the Osmo Action is better than the Hero 8? Well, first thing, number 1, and something very simple, but ultimately something that's really important, is the price point. As of right now, I checked on Amazon literally 5 minutes ago, you can buy the GoPro Hero 8 for £279.99. You can buy the DJI Osmo Action for £229.99. That is a £50 difference. Now, bearing in mind I've got other reasons why I think this camera is actually better, even if we decided they were exactly the same, there's a £50 saving there. Now, bearing in mind the cheaper one of those cameras is only just over £200, you're talking more than a 20% saving for one camera over the other. For me, that is a huge difference. If you're talking about a camera that costs £1,000, fine, £50 isn't that much of a difference. But when you're talking about a camera that costs less than $250, then £50 becomes a massive percentage, and something you really should consider before you jump into your purchase. Now, the second reason, now this is a small thing, but something for me that I think would be fairly important. Now, the Osmo Action is a little bit smaller than the Hero 8. It's not a huge amount of difference, it's only a tiny bit, but nonetheless it is smaller. Now, when you think about these kind of cameras and what they're used for, if you guys are out there wanting to attach these like onto helmets and surfboards and on the front of bikes and stuff like that, you want it to be small, right? That's the whole idea of buying a camera like this. So the fact that that is a little bit bigger, and when you put them up, I'll put it over there so you can see it closer, when you put them next to each other, there is a little bit of a difference in size. And ultimately for me, a camera like this, surely you want it to be as small as you possibly can. And if you want the smaller camera, then the Osmo Action is the one for you. Okay, the third thing, and this one is big for me. This is a game changer right here, right? For some reason, and I really cannot understand why, but for some reason, GoPro have decided with the Hero 8 to have this like lens or lens cover, whatever you want to call it, the area where the lens is built in. That means it does not come off. That means you can't change it easily. The front of this is the front of your lens. Now, think about what these cameras are designed for. You're going over rocks on mountain bikes, you're climbing, you're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. If you scratch the front of this element right here, of this lens, what are you going to do? It doesn't seem to me that you could just replace that easily. Does that mean you're going to have to buy a whole other camera? That's just crazy. Whereas in comparison, the Osmo Action, the front right here, it just screws off. It really easily comes off, and then what you have behind there is your lens. The cover, the lens. You scratch this one, that's hardly going to cost you much to buy. Seems like an absolute no-brainer to me, and I cannot understand why that has been done. It's still waterproof, that does up really tight. I actually had to wrestle with that to get it off the first time, but once you got it off, it does up and undoes really easily. For me, that is massive. Interchangeable lens cover, built-in lens cover on the GoPro. Huge difference for me. Now that for me actually rolls straight into my fourth thing. When I'm doing video with action cameras, I use ND filters all the time. That's because I want to try to keep the shutter speed to double the frame rate. So for me, if I'm shooting 24 frames per second, that means I want to keep the shutter at 1/50th. In order to be able to do that in the middle of the day when it's bright, you need to use ND filters. Now, you can use ND filters with both of these cameras, don't get me wrong, but the GoPro system, because this cover is built in, the GoPro system comes with like a clip kind of thing. Now you can buy different ones, there's a few different ones you can get on Amazon. But either way, they either like clip over the top, or there's some which operate with magnet systems on the front. Now again, the kind of stuff these cameras get used for, that is going to be getting knocked all the time, and for me it feels risky if there is an attachment or something on this camera that isn't firmly built onto it, something that could get knocked and could come off. That really concerns me. With the Osmo Action, in the same way that the lens cover comes off, it's interchangeable. You just take off your normal lens cover, and then you get your ND filter, and it just screws on. That is now built on the front, right? That's not going to come off. There's no way that that's going to get knocked off, anything like that. Seems a lot more safe to me, a lot more sturdy, and just feels like there's an awful lot less risk of potentially losing something compared to the Hero 8. Okay, the fifth thing is all to do with the battery cover and or memory card cover. That's right, we're getting picky right here. We're talking about battery covers, because to me, this is an important one, right? Now, on the Osmo Action, you have, under this cover on the side, a little flap, and in there, you've got your memory card. Okay, memory card's in there, you've got the charging port in there too, but generally when you're out and about, you won't be using that one so much. It's the memory card that you will be using. Separately down the bottom here, locked in place, and you're only really going to take it out if you need to change your battery, is the actual battery. That clips into the bottom. Perfect, I like it. Two separate covers. Now, in comparison, the GoPro Hero 8 has both of these under one cover. Now, on this cover on the side right here, it clips down and lifts up, and underneath there, you've got the battery and you've also got the memory card. Now, I struggle with this, right? Now, don't get me wrong. When you take this cover off, that battery is not like springing out of place. So that isn't necessarily my concern. But you've got to think sometimes about some of the environments where you might need to change memory cards. I have on several occasions had to change the memory card on this camera when it's been soaking wet. That doesn't really worry me so much, right? I undo this little flap right here. I just try to avoid the water getting to it. It's tiny. The memory card goes in and out. But ultimately, worst case scenario, yes, there's a charging port there, but there's nothing massive that I'm worried about, like one or two tiny droplets getting near. If I take the cover off the Hero 8 when it's soaking wet, well, I've got the risk of water getting right in there with my battery. Now, you can't really see it on the camera, but if you look inside there, there are all kinds of electrics in there. Now, I would be terrified to open this cover to change that memory card if this camera is wet. Now look, I'm not a water sports guy, I'm not a surfer or anything like that, but some of you guys will probably be out there on the sea, on your surfboard, potentially having to do something like that with your waterproof bag and whatever else you got. So for me, that feels like a big risk and something which I just do not like about the GoPro. Okay, the sixth reason. Now this is something that a lot of people have talked about as being a positive thing about the GoPro. And yeah, I can see why it is a positive thing. And that is that the little feet, the attachment, are built into the bottom of the camera itself. It means you don't have to have a cage. You can use this with all your GoPro attachments straight off the bottom of the camera. In comparison, of course, for the Osmo Action, you would have to put it into a cage, like so, which then has the feet on the bottom. So what's my concern with this, you might ask? Well, my worry is about potential damage, right? It seems risky to me. Once these flaps are out on this little stand, on these little legs, they're a bit wobbly, they're a bit flimsy, there's a little bit of give in them, and I would be worried about the potential for one of those to get damaged or snapped. And if that did happen, if this got damaged or snapped, how easy is that to replace? Can you buy these separately? I couldn't see them anywhere obvious on the GoPro website if you can, but that seems to me a risk. If one of those breaks, am I going to have to replace my whole camera? In comparison, if one of those breaks on my little cage, this cost me less than 10 quid. Easy to replace this if I need to. I'm not going to be too concerned about that. Moving into my seventh reason. Now this is another big one. This is all to do with the screens on the back. Okay, now we talked about the fact that the GoPro was bigger, right? Well, bearing in mind the GoPro is bigger, why on earth have they not made more use of the space on the back? There is so much room on the back of that camera that just is not used when you look at the size of the screen. In comparison, if you look at the Osmo Action, look how much bigger the screen is. There is a noticeable difference in the size of the screens on the back. And if I show you down here on the side camera, you can see what I mean. I don't understand why they haven't used more of the real estate on the back of that camera with the GoPro. They really could have made that screen a whole load bigger. Now this point actually extends beyond just the back screen, because for me, another huge thing, and again, probably my biggest reason why I love the Osmo Action, is the front screen. The ability that you can just turn that picture around and you can use it to vlog, you can see yourself on the screen, it just works so well. That is the biggest thing that this GoPro is missing. Now yes, I know some of you guys in the comments, I see you down there already, you can buy an attachment so you can put a screen on this, yes, but that's a whole load extra money. You get it built in with the Osmo Action. You can see yourself, you can do your vlog, it just works perfectly. There is of course the little LED screen on the front of the GoPro, but you can't actually see a picture or anything on there. It's no use whatsoever when it comes to vlogging. Whereas of course with the Osmo Action you can see yourself, you can check your composition, you can check you're looking good, of course that's important too. Massive difference, the lack of front screen on the GoPro Hero 8. Now I actually have a bonus 8th reason as well. I didn't necessarily consider this important enough to like have it as a numbered reason, but it's something to consider nonetheless. Personally, I find the usability of the Osmo Action to just be a lot easier. With the GoPro, you can do things like have customized presets on the modes and stuff like that. But even to change those, you have to go like into the menu, and then you have to pick on which one, and then you change it. And if you want to then change what that preset is, so for example, if I want to change that from 1080p to 4K, I have to then go in and I have to edit it within the menu. To me, that just, it feels fiddly compared to the Osmo Action, where I can literally go into the screen, you swipe up from the bottom and across, you can swipe back and forth, right and left, and you can change your settings really easy then and there. You swipe it back down again, you're good to go. In my experience of playing with both cameras, it feels easier and quicker doing that on the Osmo Action than it does on the GoPro. Now there we go guys, those are my 7 or maybe even 8 reasons why I think the DJI Osmo Action trumps the GoPro Hero 8. Now I appreciate there will be loads of you that disagree with me. Feel free to pile into the comments, don't worry, try and convince me, tell me that I'm wrong, that is totally cool with me. The thing that I should say that probably emphasises this point entirely is that I only actually own one of these cameras. I bought one of these with my own money and the other one I have borrowed for this video. As you probably gathered, I own the DJI Osmo Action. This is the one I decided to buy, and I've borrowed the GoPro, and I will give it back, and I'm not going to worry. I will crack on using my Osmo Action, and I will be happy with that. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure you go hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you are new. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Disagree? Am I a crazy fool? Should I have bought the GoPro instead? Who knows? Maybe I'll learn a lesson in the future, but right now I am confident with my decision. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys. I will see you on the next video.